Hey y'all, TRG here with another urgent update. This is going to be for the potential of a tropical storm and or hurricane to form and slam into Florida. This is going to be an urgent update, so remember there will be no cuts, which means I may mess up a bit, and I apologize when I do. This is your current look at 97L out here in the Dominican Republic, moving off to the northwest. Just some convective blobs around that low pressure center. Nothing of great concern at this exact moment. Here is your surface plot as of about 2 p.m. Eastern time, again right over the north central portion of the Dominican Republic. So we'll watch that, and it is eventually going to move into the eastern portion of the Gulf of Mexico. So we'll have a really good opportunity to intensify, and that is exactly what these model runs are showing. Most of our intensity guidance has this being a Category 2 hurricane, so we will be keeping a very close eye out on that. Let me go ahead and show you guys the National Hurricane Center. There's our NHC. We do have a 70% chance that the system forms in the next 7 days and a 30% chance in the next 2 days. So if you're out there anywhere in Florida, including portions of Georgia and as well as southern Alabama, you should have your hurricane preparedness plan ready. Now, it doesn't need to be put into action just yet until we figure out exactly where this storm is going to go, but at least make sure your hurricane preparedness plan is ready to go if you live anywhere in the southeastern portion of the U.S., because this system is going to be moving up, and it's going to have a good opportunity to intensify in the Gulf of Mexico and then probably move up the coastline of the Carolinas or directly into the Carolinas. Let's go ahead and show you guys our H-Wharf model run provided by tropicaltidbits.com. This storm, again, is over the Dominican Republic, moving off to the northwest. I apologize if this jumps around a lot. It's because the model run hasn't exactly figured out the low pressure center. And this particular model run, the H-Wharf, takes it just south of Cuba. Now, I don't really think this will have a chance to form until it gets after Cuba. So once it goes north of Cuba, west of Key West, Florida, that's when we're going to have a good opportunity for this to form. And you can see the H-Wharf here on August 4th, which is going to be Sunday this week, already has a tropical storm to borderline hurricane beginning to form. And then as we go towards the early morning of August 5th, this thing rapidly intensifies into a Category 2, low in Category 3 hurricane as it approaches the western portion of Florida. So that is a very real scenario where we see this go into the eastern Gulf, intensify to a tropical storm, then overnight rapidly intensify into a Cat 2, Cat 3 hurricane and make landfall on the Florida Panhandle. Now, that's not the most likely scenario, but it is a very real scenario and a very real concern that we may see a hurricane hit the western Panhandle of Florida. Here's our European ensembles. Compared to when I last showed you guys this is a lot more organized. There's still a lot of uncertainty on the intensity and the exact track here on the European ensembles. But this is, generally we're looking at the western portion of Florida, probably looking at a tropical storm, borderline hurricane at this moment. I'm not going to go as far to say major hurricane, but you do need to be having preparations, at least make sure your family knows that a tropical storm to a potential hurricane could impact you out there towards like Tallahassee and the coastline of western Florida. So just want to keep a very close eye on it. It definitely has that opportunity to form. Now the GFS ensembles, this is the GEFS ensembles, which is the GFS ensembles. That is really aggressive. If you guys remember when I showed you guys this in yesterday's stream, it had like 1 or 2 models and ensembles forming. It now has almost every ensemble model heading right into Florida as a tropical storm. And some of these you can see actually that red bit there, that's almost a Category 4 hurricane. That's probably just the GFS biased, honestly. I don't think we're going to get that high up. But just because this thing's going to be going into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, it's going to have a really good window of opportunity north of Cuba. Right when it gets west of Key West, it's going to have all that open waters, and it's going to definitely have the opportunity to intensify into a hurricane as we go towards August 4th and August 5th. And then again, here's your National Hurricane Center Outlook, 70% chance for formation out there near Florida. Make sure you have those preparations ongoing immediately. I do want to go ahead and jump back over to a different model run. This is going to be the H-Wharf model run on 97L. Thankfully, it has rendered in completely. I didn't check. This is going to be, of course, on August 3rd, going into August 4th, and it looks like this takes it just a bit more west. And this actually slams it at a category, not really a hurricane, I meant to say a tropical storm, maybe borderline Cat 1, but most likely a tropical storm. And to get this, that is Mississippi and Alabama and even a small portion of Louisiana. So that is also another option, is that we see this thing go towards Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. It's definitely a lot less likely than Florida, but it is a potential, a potential scenario where this goes into Alabama. and maybe western Florida, right in this general vicinity here. So there's a lot of uncertainties on the exact track, but somewhere between like Louisiana and Florida, that's really what we're locking in. So the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Now, I myself haven't checked this, but let's go ahead and go to the deterministic model run of the GFS. You saw that looping in at the beginning of this video. We'll go over to the southeast. So the GFS model here, of course, has that low pressure coming off the coastline of Cuba on August 3rd, forms into a tropical storm on the morning of the 4th, and then actually gets borderline Cat 1 hurricane there, probably a tropical storm on August 4th. Actually makes a landfall right near where our Dahlia did, so that's another thing too. You know, if this system comes off the coastline of Cuba and then just slams right towards the Panhandle or near Tampa, then it's not going to have as much ocean time. That's another big factor. If this starts in Cuba and moves up towards Mississippi, Alabama, that's going to give it a lot more, warmer waters, as well as a lot more ocean time, just time over the Gulf of Mexico. So that is a really big key factor there. Will this just turn right into Florida and barely have time to intensify? Or is it going to be able to stay in the Gulf of Mexico for, maybe a couple more hours longer than what the GFS shows, and then hit the western panhandle, kind of the little indent there of Florida as well? Now let's go into the European model. I don't think the 06Z is going to reach out far enough, so we're going to go to yesterday's 00Z European model run, and I really don't see. I think that's it. Yeah, that is it right there. Just a blob of precipitation. This is the least aggressive model run I have seen from the European so far out of the whole entire week, maybe even 2 weeks that the European model has been showing this. It just shows a blob of rainfall out there in Florida. Not really a tropical storm or a hurricane or anything like that. I feel like the European is not holding on to this system very well. For once, I think it's actually being rather handling this very poorly. So that is interesting. We'll see if it shows something crazier at 12Z here in about 3 hours, right around 5 p.m. This video should be up at 4 p.m. So we'll see about that. But yeah, that's going to be it for the tropical update. If you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, share this with your family, friends, and on social media. I just want to briefly touch on the severe weather side of things. We will probably be live by the time you're watching this video on this MCS that is moving through southwestern Indiana. It doesn't look that significant anymore, but I do believe I'm going to be going live here about 3:30 Eastern, so I should be live by the time you're seeing this video. Severe watches out there in Kentucky for mainly the potential of up to 75 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts there. Slight risk for severe weather in place across portions of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Kentucky as well. Tomorrow's threat for severe weather, we've got a big marginal risk. I will be keeping an eye out for a potential chase day on this day tomorrow, which is going to be the 2nd of August. And then, of course, the 3rd of August, we also have that level 1 threat for severe weather as well out there in Virginia. This does look a little bit more notable, so we may see a slight risk for severe weather get introduced somewhere between central Virginia into a good chunk of North Carolina and into northern South Carolina as well. Of course, there is your National Hurricane Center outlook. Again, a 30% chance that this forms in the next 48 hours, and in the next 7 days, we've got a 70% chance that this forms. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know this was a bit of a shorter tropical update. I just wanted to get all the information out there as quickly as possible. I appreciate you guys tuning in to this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, watch severe weather and the tropics. Have a great day. Goodbye.